And I think we are it.
This is it.
Morzane just became a member.
Oh, holy moly!
Well,
It
that's
must
good.
be just the shirt that you're wearing today. I do need to
Yeah,
inquire. That looks like a python fox. Is what I'm seeing, like a snake fox, fox
yeah.
snake.
I don't. It is, I think, a fox. The company is called Fixie.
Oh,
I don't know anything. I mean, I went to a hackathon, but I wear the shirt every now and then. I think we have this discussion each time, and each time I don't really remember what they do, other than make a T-shirt that was
a
nice.
comfy shirt.
It's not even that comfy.
Oh,
It's
okay.
kind of, it feels very similar to that shirt that you got me onto, the Joyant division. It's not
Right, right, right,
it's not a great comfy shirt. It's not like the Datadog shirt, but
right.
it's okay
Yeah,
and it's
Redbubble
clean.
has. I want to say a Pima tee was the one that I recommended.
Yeah,
It's not thin, but it's thinner at least.
yeah.
Compared to their Gildan, which I actively dislike.
Mm,
The really thick one that feels quite,
right.
yeah, boxy. Again, for those of you just joining, this is like a recurrent rant of ours about the quality of the t-shirts that you give out for your company. They should
That's
be
right.
high enough that you can wear it all the time, and maybe forget the logo. You like the t-shirt that
Right.
much. I think is what we're getting at. I
I
realize that may not be
I
the
got
goal
one.
for the
Oh,
company.
I got a visitor. Hold on.
Uh oh.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
I'm on my stream, but that's
Yes, you
I
block the child.
yeah. What do you need?
You
Popsicles,
want
Pro-
one?
obviously. Yeah.
yeah.
I'll get you one.
Okay. She's going to get me a popsicle.
It is fairly warm in the Pacific
It
Northwest.
is.
I
It
I
is
am not
warm.
judging any popsicle fetching or giving or
I
taking.
I will probably be eating. I'm not. It looked like a coconut. We get the ones from. It's like a green box. I can't remember what it's called. They're
Del Monte, Del Monte.
no. Or I mean, organic. Kind of a
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah.
We've
I
got
can't
some of the
remember.
organic ones, and then some of the I want to call them.
Good.
mm, yeah, corn syrup, corn sugar, or
Organic. Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They're
Like
so good,
real flavors. Yeah.
real flavors. I
Actually,
think the
these
lifesavers ones are
are
my favorite.
Here you go.
sweet. They are from Outshine. Outshine is
Oh,
the brand. Yeah,
oh,
oh, one
amazing.
second.
Yeah. We need
Um,
sponsors. Outshine, if you find us, come.
yeah, yeah.
What's going to happen is I'm going to get a whole bunch of
Hey, Jake,
Instagram
are you
and
still in
Facebook
there?
ads after this. I thought I heard some
Jake,
shaking.
come on in. Come on. Okay, I'm gonna do my stream. I'll see you later. Thanks so much for the popsicle.
So t-shirts and popsicles. These are what we gotta.
See which flavor it is. The coconut is pretty spectacular, as well as there's a berry one, which is, God, it's so good.
Ooh, someone in the chat is saying 108 in Phoenix.
Mm. Oh, this is like a lime or lemon. Oh, this is really
Ooh,
nice. Very
yeah.
refreshing on a warm day
Yeah,
like
we're
this.
definitely getting the ASMR lip smacking. This we're gonna get some misophonia comments here in a moment.
So I saw there was a tweet that I responded to a few days ago. I know whatever they're actually called, but they're still tweets.
Right.
Um, Saying it's the hottest day on record for Denver, or was it Boulder, Colorado, and the indication that it was such a hot day was that the low was 74 degrees. Like if there is a advertisement for a city, even on the hottest day, you're still going to get 74 degrees when it's really cool. It's like that seems like an advertisement. It's like great, sign me up. I wish it was that cool on the hottest day.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen here. You could go to the woods, I guess. The woods seem
Hmm.
to be like the thing.
Yeah,
Find a river in some sort of
yeah,
valley.
a lot
I
of
think
those
is the Pacific
mountains.
Northwest
Yeah,
tactic. Yeah, yeah.
yep.
Don't get beaver fever. Don't drink the water. Definitely rinse off afterwards. But yes, find yourself a stream and some wooded areas. That's
We
my
went
trick.
kayaking We've gone
Yeah.
kayaking a few times over
Yeah.
the last week, and go to this little area called Hidden, I don't know, Hidden something, on Bainbridge,
Hidden
and
area.
but it's Puget Sound, and it's apparently one of the warmest places to go swimming
Hmm.
because the water is reaches all the way up to upper 50s, um, and but we went kayaking and it was lovely. I mean, stick your hand in, it's like nice and cold.
Now, when you describe the temperature, do you use freedom units? Because there's some discussion in the chat here about 108 Celsius, and that would be fairly hot.
I use the correct the
F for freedom, right? Yeah.
yeah, for freedom, yeah, because if it's used in the one country that I'm in, who cares about the rest, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I tend to
Yeah,
default to Kelvin, so no one understands what
uh,
I'm talking about.
I'd say that in my nearly 10 years of living in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, I
Mhm.
never got used to Celsius. I always, whenever I saw the Celsius temperature, I was like, okay, does that mean I need to wear a sweater? Uh, and then do the division and all to figure it out.
Now, you've hit on a topic of mine that I really do like, which is weather applications.
Mm,
And do I need a sweater is one of those things that I feel like indicates whether or not
right.
this is a good weather map. And having looked yet again at the Dark Sky API or whatever Apple's done to it, I again looked at their app and realized that it still does not have like, do you need a
Mm,
sweater? What kind of clothing would you wear? Like none of that's there.
yeah.
Dark Sky had all this cool stuff in it that I just don't see in the
And
weather app.
what I find, so I have a little weather station thing on my
Right,
garage roof, and it's
right.
from God, what's the company? It's fancy, but like it's got the wind meter, but there's no like spinning thing. It's all
Mhm.
based on how it moves around. It's like just a pole, and the rain sensor, which is actually very accurate, is not based on rain collected, but how many raindrops actually tap the top of it.
Oh, it's like
It's
a
pretty slick.
sauna thing.
Pretty slick.
Interesting.
Um, but what I like about that isn't most weather things will say, here's what the temperature is now, and here's
Yep,
what the temperature is going to be for the next 5 hours or 10 hours or 12 or
yep.
5 days. They show the future, but none of them show here's what it was this time yesterday.
Right, right.
Because
Historical.
I
X minus. Yeah,
and not so much because I want to know historical, but I remember yesterday I did want to wear a sweater.
right.
So if it today is cooler than yesterday, chances are I want a sweater. Or I couldn't get enough clothes off to stay cool because it's so freaking hot yesterday. It's good to know that today. So
Yeah,
I think that's what I find useful about the historical information. God, it's cold.
totally agree. And it's not just that. It's like this time last year. What was it? I'd
Mm-hmm.
like to know that. The
Mm-hmm.
yesterday is good. Last week is
Yep.
also good. Also,
Yep.
the week coming up, like how will it compare
Yeah.
to this week? Is gonna be
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
have so many things that I'd like. That's one of the sorry to talk about work, but that's one of the things that I used to show people in Datadog all the time. And
Mm.
not to mention a competitor, but it's one of the things, one of the few things I thought that Lightstep, which I think is now part of ServiceNow, did properly in my eyes is that every time
Mm.
it gave you a graph, it was like the same graph minus 1 week or minus a
Mm-hmm.
day. Like it would always give you a
Right.
historical comparison, let alone
Mm-hmm.
like the chart is a comparison for sure, but this time last Y is always
Mm-hmm.
interesting to me. Like last year, last week, last month.
Right.
Always want to know this, especially if it's a week and you've got like a cyclical thing that happens in your sales
Mm-hmm.
cycle, or maybe it's a quarter based thing. It's very important to be able to see what happened not just last year, but maybe like the last couple
Right.
years as a rolling average, which you can do as well. That kind of stuff to me gives you a little bit more insight, and it could be false. It could be that your
Mm-hmm.
assumption that this has to do with old stuff is false, but unless you compare them, you won't know. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the weather is one of those things as well. We've talked about Farmer's Almanac before as well. It's not always going to be right, but funnily enough, it is
Right.
often
Often.
pretty close,
Yeah.
which is very interesting.
Mm.
But yeah, that historical comparison I think is something a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people miss when they're setting up a way to visualize data or what have you. It's like that Stack Overflow thing that we look at. Like it shows you last
Right.
year, like the programmer survey.
Right.
It shows you last year, but like what happened in the last 10 years? Like
Yeah.
what happened to
Yeah.
PHP? Why is PHP
Right.
popular again? I don't understand.
Right.
Make it
Right.
make sense. What's your theory? Do you have a, because
I have
PHP
no
does seem
theory.
to be surging in popularity.
Is it?
Yeah.
I saw that.
My meme take here, or maybe my loser take here, is that LLMs make it a lot easier to code PHP, and people getting into programming may think PHP is still a
Right.
thing, so they pick up on it. And WordPress is in PHP. It's, I think, still the
I-
de facto blogging platform.
I did see a chart of the languages that GPT-5 or GPT-OSS were trained on, and a
Yeah.
large part, the language with the most training done on it was Perl.
Ah.
I didn't see the
really
other
don't want to write
numbers.
Perl again, though.
Yeah. No.
Sorry, I paused for a second. I was like, I actually
No.
don't remember this language fondly. I remember specifically having issues with Perl style regex. I think it was like you threw me for a loop all the time. I loved Perl back in the day, but I just, maybe it's the programming practices that I had back then that were terrible, and I don't I can't see myself doing it again. But I have been using a lot of GPT-5, and I'm pretty impressed with it. And
before we get onto that, I was just thinking, having eaten this wonderful Outshine popsicle, there's one other cool snack that I really love. I don't know if you've ever had it. You can get the the plain ice cream sandwich, and you get like a box of 6 for, the absolutely cheapest stuff is $2-3. And then you get kind of the slightly fancier version of almost the exact same thing. It's like
this is
4 or 5.
Right? It's kind of the bougie one. Chapman's is sort of the bougie one. It's above $6, $1 each. Maybe that's the Canadian. Sorry.
But then my favorite is actually the ones that you get from. There's 2 brands. There's one whose name I've forgotten, but the other one comes from San Juan Ice Cream Company. I think it's done in the done in the San Juans, in the Orcas Island. One of the islands up there. The downside is that they're stupid expensive.
Of course, you got to ship it from the island.
It's an ice cream sandwich that big. The cookie on it is fantastic. So it's 2 cookies, and they're good cookies, and the ice cream is spectacular, and it's like $6.50 per sandwich.
Wow!
But oh my god, they are so good.
I feel like you and I may have different goals with popsicles. Mine is not like nourishment. It's kind of like sugar water in my brain. Yours is make a meal out of this, if I understand.
Well, I guess if you needed to make it as filling as possible, it would be the kind of the snack that I always remember from Datadog Dash on the piers, the Chelsea piers, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and it was a good slab of ice cream stuffed between 2 halves of the massive donuts. And it was like, it was easily 6 inches round, and it was sticky. It was a glazed donut, so there's no way to eat this without getting really, really messy. And you really have to like rush for the bathroom afterwards to clean it up, because there's glaze all over your fingers and all over your mouth and beard, and it's so good.
Perfect for conferences.
As far as I can, it's probably why they never did it.
I wasn't there, but it was a hot day, right? So I'm imagining that there was ice cream melting.
Sure, it could have been. Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
But you were going to say about GPT-5.
I was, in fact, and I think I'm not sure if I can tie in ice cream, but maybe I won't try. But I think, to me, maybe I got something. My internal ChatGPT is working. So to me, GPT-5 is not like the best flavor you could ever get. So it's not like maybe you're a Rocky Roads or Rum Raisin. We're both old folks, so we like old folk tastes. It's more like a better, newer Neapolitan, where there's 3 flavors together. But imagine that the flavors that it contained were like, I don't know, red dye number
Mm,
543 or whatever, because the models that comprise ChatGPT 5 have, I could never understand the names. O3, O1,
yeah,
mini, not mini, 4.1,
yeah,
4.0, 4.5. That all this
right,
stuff just drove me up the wall. And honestly, none of it was very good. So I just opt to use Claude, like
yeah,
pretty much every time.
yeah,
Typically Sonnet, rarely Opus, but to me it was a choice between two models. Like it was 4.0 or I guess 4.1 for Opus now, but
yeah.
just
GPT
between
4
Opus or
was the
Sonnet.
best thing for Anthropic ever.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
because it was terrible. It was like
terrible.
it was an it was supposed to be an incremental release, and it
Hmm.
actually didn't seem to be.
No.
And I guess most of us jumped ship to Claude Code, and it's not that the models were much worse. It's just like the sycophancy, so the glazing to bring in your
Hmm.
donut here just a little bit. The glazing. I'm sorry, I'm trying really hard for the segues today. The glazing was so bad that just tokens were wasted, telling me, "Oh, that's a great question. Like you really cut to the heart
Yeah,
of the matter
yeah,
or whatever
yeah,
it is."
yeah,
Just like
yeah,
just don't like how
yeah.
about you don't? You're wasting tokens. On top of which, in something like an O1 or an O3, where the output
Right.
tokens are expensive, like it's just wasting everyone's
Yeah.
time. So I think a lot of us moved to 3.5 at the time, which was older,
Hmm.
and stuck with it, or 3.7, I guess, for some things, and then 4. But on the GPT side, there were, I think, 5, maybe 6 models available, and it was really difficult for me to
Hmm.
discern which I should use for which task. Some were great at
Right.
creative writing. I
Yeah.
don't know which ones they were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I tried them all. Like it's not
Yeah.
that I didn't try them. I tried them all. What I think GPT-5 does really good at is orchestration, or excels
Mm.
at is orchestration. And what I mean by that is not like what you and I would think about like Kubernetes orchestration, but just I think we probably call it like load balancing between models, or
Ah, okay.
routing
Yeah.
between them to
Okay.
decide which
Yep.
is better to figure
Right.
out which problem. In
Right.
Aider or like a Goose or something, you might have like a light model and a
Yep.
hard model. So some things, if you're just doing the file search, use a light one,
Yep.
hand it off to another model. It seems
Yep.
like it does a lot of that transparently. In fact,
Mm.
even when you're using thinking, the reasoning isn't so slow that it's not
Right.
like unusable, which is nice too. So the
Yeah.
reasoning seems to be faster, which is great.
Yeah.
And I've been using the medium reasoning in Windsurf, and I think
Mm.
Windsurf probably has a lot to do with my success. So I've
Mm.
noticed that Windsurf with GPT-5
Yep.
and sequential thinking, which is still my favorite, is
Yeah.
fantastic. So you can just let it do a task and it'll go. And what I really, really appreciate is the lack of hallucinations or not following
Mm.
instructions. So it will follow instructions, and at least in my experience, rarely hallucinates. Doesn't get
Right.
version numbers wrong, doesn't invent package names or
Yeah.
functionality of packages that never existed, or like
Yep.
mix up licenses of packages. I think we've talked about this a bunch, but like
Mm.
if
Hmm.
I'm going for something that's BSD, MIT,
Right.
Apache license compatible, please don't throw in stuff that's
Right.
GPL or a Pharaoh or what have you, which I do find Sonnet does a lot. And
Yeah.
listen, I understand that this is a capability that is it beyond what most people would be using, and maybe there's an MCP for this, but I've been using like the GH command line with Windsurf, and it's fantastic. It's just crawling GitHub, dealing with my issues,
Mm.
pulling in issues, tickets, what have you, dealing with them, completing them, cleaning up repos. It's fantastic for all this stuff, and I feel like
Yeah.
being able to have it do that and other things is really helpful to me. It
Mm.
it almost feels like it's just the context that it's really working on properly. So it's maybe prioritizing the context as it goes
Hmm.
along. And it's not the fastest model at all. In fact, it's quite a bit slower than Sonnet, but I do find that the quality of work is better. And as a result, when I go back to the code later, it just works, which is great. So I say, don't stop
Hmm.
until it works. Lo and behold, when it's done, it works. But I do agree with most of the reviewers. It's not fast.
Right.
It's pretty cheap. In fact, it's free in Windsurf, so
Hmm.
it's difficult to argue with the cost. I will say though, having used it in Cursor, where I don't have the paid Cursor any longer, it's way less usable for me, or way less
Yeah.
useful. And I have used it in the browser, and I feel like in the browser, it's actually quite a bit more useful for me, just in the browser. It can
Mm.
do things similar to what I really like from Sonnet, or maybe from Anthropic, which is being able to make those little web artifacts, so things that are live in the browser, which I find fantastic. And being able to download
Hmm.
a zip and then take that code and go have a party,
Right.
fantastic. But I guess what I really want to say though is that as good as it is, because I have a workflow that works in Claude Code or even with Olama with Ader, it
Yep.
doesn't make sense for me to switch gears and pay them a lot of money to get the
Yep.
$200 a month equivalent plan. It's
Yeah.
just not there. And I feel like it might be trust. And I think this is something that we
Mhm.
talk about a lot, maybe in DevRel or maybe just in companies, but it feels like I lost that trust. And as
Yeah.
a result, like I've got a workflow that works now. The switching cost or the opportunity cost of trying something out for a new project
Right.
in GPT-5, because it's slower and the ergonomics are different, like I might as well just use what works at this point. And I
Right.
think that's a real shame here, is that it is a good model. It seems to route between, it's like mixture of experts, but it's a little bit better as far as I can tell. It chooses between models that I found confusing before, but that's
Right.
a problem that OpenAI did to itself. It's like the guy riding the
Yep.
bicycle, putting the stick in, then falling
Right.
over and holding the knee, right? Like if this is a cell phone here. That's
Yeah.
my opinion. I don't know if you play with it a lot. I feel like it is
I
good,
haven't played with it a
but
lot.
it's not
I
that
have
good.
seen lots of reviews that like, yeah, yeah. But it is interesting something you just said about a company's actions
Mm.
affecting the user's trust, and it's not even the company's actions. It could also be the perception of actions, or
Or inaction.
how the
Yeah.
users see what they see in the actions. They see this list of 3 actions, and they read between the lines and jump to the absolute worst version of
Of course.
those 3 things, when it could also be interpreted in a very positive way.
Right.
Um, and that was something that came up recently in stuff that I've been touching around
Oh.
Olama.
Ah. Oh shoot. I
Did
haven't seen
you
that.
see any of the new releases?
I did not. We talked a little bit in the green room after
Yeah.
last. Okay. Was it
So there
similar
was a
to
new UI,
right?
and so that came out, and the it appears that while there's not been any official statement on the fact, but the source code is not available
Oh,
currently,
just for the
but
UI or
just for the UI. And
okay.
so because of that, and because of perhaps lack of transparency
Transparency.
around what happened, people are jumping to the conclusion that, oh, Olama is going closed source, which is not the case. Everything that people have been using that's open source is still open source. It's not changing. It's not Nothing's changing there, and that project is still the main. Hey, what are you doing? Getting comfy. It's still the main project, so there's no change there.
Interesting.
And then some people think, oh well, again, it's going closed source, so let me jump ship to LM Studio, which is closed source. So that didn't make any sense.
that
But
that
that's the
that
reason
totally
you're gonna
tracks.
go. Okay, but then within like a week or 2 weeks of each other, um, Olama releases GPT OSS on Olama, but so
Okay.
did LM Studio and all the other
Hmm.
local LLM runners. They all released it because OpenAI basically worked with all of them to ensure
Yeah.
that the model's everywhere. But because of the wording that they use, like all the companies partnered with OpenAI, and so
Oh
but
no.
if you don't see all of them, you just see one of them, you think, oh,
Hmm.
Olama's partnering with OpenAI. So did they get bought by? I mean, no, nothing like that happened. There's no purchase. There's no partnership. That's just it seems to be the terms that OpenAI wanted to use.
That's the
Um,
term that most people will use when it's like
yeah,
a
yeah,
for-profit company
sure,
and not for profit. That's a partnership. I think
right,
kids will use like an X, like the
yeah,
collaboration. But
yeah.
but yeah, that means partnership.
and
Yeah.
and that kind of surfaced the fact that Olama is a company, and it did, and
Right.
I'm not sharing anything new here because I saw plenty of people talking about taking uh, venture funding and all that. So, but for a lot of people, that was new information, and so this is a sign that it's coming to an end, which is not the case. So that was interesting, but also within a span of about a week or so, they did the preview release of Olama Turbo, which
Oh,
is
right,
hosting models up in the cloud. And
right.
some people have the
I
perception
can totally see it.
that
Yeah, if I saw all these three
Olama is
things, I would think the
local.
same. Hmm.
Olama is local, and now it's moving into the cloud. To use the cloud, you have to pay and register. And it closed? What's going? So all these things align, and if you choose to perceive it in the worst way possible, you could think, oh yes, all these things are. It's all a sign of where it's going, and the free stuff will
Right,
go away, which is not the case. And there's a perception that because they need to provide a little bit more transparency on what's going on, it's hard to know whether the privacy and security that has always been at the core of Olama is still there. And the fact that the only model for this preview release is this OpenAI model. So all these things kind of line up to make, if you choose to perceive it in the worst way possible, it
right.
can look bad.
Now, I, I have a lot of comments,
Yeah.
but just on the last one, on the preview model, is that really the like? If you're Olama, is that really the one? I understand the recency bias because it's brand new, right? Is
Yeah.
that really the one that people want?
I don't
I'm
know. I don't,
There's someone in the
I
chat
think
talking about
it's,
DeepSeek, and there's a few other Quen things out there, but like there are some larger parameter models that I've never played with, for example, that I
yeah,
would love to play with on a hosted
I would
device.
have. So before the preview release, there were a dozen people that had access to it, and I was one of them. And on there we had Kimi K2 1 trillion parameter
Right, that's what
model,
I was
and
hinting at,
it
but
was
exactly
flying. It
right.
flew through. It was so fast. Um,
Sorry, folks. Full disclosure, like I did know about this a little bit, but like that's what I thought would be the killer app,
it
personally.
was amazing.
Right.
And like hundreds of tokens per second at this 1 trillion, full context, no quantization. It just super fast, as well as the DeepSeek 641, 671, whatever,
Right, which is apparently quite
billion
good.
parameters.
Yeah.
Amazing when it's at that size. It
Right.
was phenomenal. And then for preview, they disabled those and went to just now the benefits of GPT-OSS is that it's a smaller size, so 120 billion parameters, and it's
Right.
the native size is I think 2.5 bits per parameter versus
Okay.
32 bit or 32 or 16, which a lot of the models are, and so it's
Yep.
not quantized down. That is the full. Um, so it's a much smaller model, and so if you're all of a sudden going from 12 users to thousands of users
Fair. Fair.
on this it would be one thing if it were outsourcing or partnering with another vendor that makes these machines and these GPUs available,
Right.
but that's not what's happening. Um, so they wanted to make sure, and because it's still preview, it's not like a full product. Um, they want to make sure things work. And so if you're going to go a little bit lower than those, yeah, go with the model that before release, OpenAI is saying it's the best thing since whatever.
Right.
And then and as typical with OpenAI, we get, oh, it's a little disappointing. And so it seemed to make sense based on before. I think at this point it would be great to switch to another model that is, one of the larger Quen models or one of the larger anything
I
Mistral
I
models.
I'd love to play with K2,
Yeah.
obviously, just
Oh yeah.
because it's difficult to host.
Yeah.
Maverick was the other one that I realized is a bit of a dog, but still, I'd like to see what was like how Maverick actually worked, just because I never got
Yeah.
a chance to play with it. But I just pulled it up because I was away. The license is Apache 2.0 for the OSS one. It's also a very friendly
Okay.
license,
Yep.
with no strings attached, as far as I can
Yep.
tell. I
Yep.
just did a quick lazy Google, but I
Yep.
can also see like for them, maybe the I'm trying to choose my words carefully here. The optics maybe a little bit different, hosting like an American
Mhm.
model versus something from a
Sure.
different country. That's there seems to be a lot of
Yeah.
FUD maybe is the right term here when
Yeah.
it comes to like the DeepSeek, Sequens, or the
Yep.
Kimis. Okay,
Yeah. So it
I mean
was.
that's too bad. Hopefully the speed is still there though, because the speed
Oh
just
my
blew me
God,
away.
it's fantastic. I mean, I was getting easily on the 120 billion parameter model, 300 to 400 tokens per second.
Holy moly, that's fantastic!
Yeah, the machines they're using are
Wow.
phenomenal.
At some point
So
we'll be able to afford like is it a B200
yeah,
or an
yeah.
H200?
I don't know.
You know, like
I don't know
in our homes.
what GPUs they're using, but it's
Right.
fantastic.
Yeah, and again, just the way that we've talked about Olama on the show and the way it works, it would have to be like a single GPU that they're on. I don't know of a way to use Olama across many GPUs together. So
It
that
will
means
work
like
across multiple GPUs.
it will now? Like
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Interesting.
But for a long time, I don't know what it's like now because I haven't like done that testing. But
Mhm.
um, for a while early on, if you had two GP, if your model fit on one GPU and you
Right.
had two GPUs in it, it was
Right.
split across both of them, and two GPUs was always slower than one.
Correct. And you could
Um,
SLI them, but we always knew the memory bandwidth between the two was
right.
terrible over SLI.
I
Yeah.
think now it's smarter, a little bit smarter in how it distributes the load. I mean, so if it fits on one, I think it stays on one. And if it fits across two, I don't know if it will prefer the faster one. I haven't,
Okay.
because I'm on a Mac, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, we have the luxury. The other thing that I'm thinking of is because NVIDIA sells things. Obviously, you can buy a GPU
Yeah.
from NVIDIA. You can buy a rack from NVIDIA, or sorry, a rack mount from
Yep.
NVIDIA. You can also buy a rack or a row.
Yep.
And I
Yeah.
think on the Olama side, like if obviously you want to buy the row because that's where things are going to be
Hmm.
a little bit better for cost. You can fit more than 12 people on it. It's going to be
Right.
great.
Right.
The other that I'm thinking, and this is just like, hey, if Matt and Ryan were going to build an Olama hosted competitor, what would we build? Like, who would we talk to? Would it be AWS?
Right.
Would it
Right.
be, I don't know, maybe we were talking about X earlier. Perhaps we could talk to
Hmm.
Daddy Elon and he could carve off a bit of his
Hmm.
GPUs. We could
Hmm.
use them there. But like, you need actual infrastructure. And I think in my mind, something like this doesn't happen overnight. I guess is what I'm getting at. There's
Hmm.
just like speaking of partnerships, there's agreements that need to be put in place.
Right.
There's SLAs, there's terms and
Right.
conditions. There's a lot that
Right.
needs to go
Oh
on to
yeah.
get to this spot. And I can just imagine. Let's just say a year. Let's just assume
Hmm.
two people working on this for about a year. I think is
Hmm.
probably reasonable. In a
Yeah.
year, a lot has changed, and I can
Yeah.
just imagine the hand wringing and just trying to think like which model are we going to put on
Yeah.
this thing once we launch
Yeah.
it, and it keeps getting pushed forward to the future. So in
Hmm.
their minds, I'm sure they're thinking, perfect.
Right.
OpenAI is just release
Yeah.
something open source.
This
We're
is
going to put
going to
that
be
on there.
awesome. Yeah.
Perfect timing. It's going to be awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see
It'll
that
be
logic.
like Meta and Llama 2. I mean that was the model, and it was the model for a long time.
Right.
Even Llama 3, for some people, Llama 3 is still the model.
I
And
would say for local writing, it's actually pretty good.
yeah,
Like writing like on like a
yeah,
book or something like that. It's actually quite good.
yeah.
And I think
So,
I've talked a lot about 3.2 being pretty good for its size as well.
hmm,
But yeah,
hmm, yeah,
those models I think were best of breed for let's say 3 years. I think that's pretty
yeah,
easy to say. And what's happening now, and I guess we thought this happened earlier, but it didn't actually. Only like 6 months ago, people are starting to pick up on other things being a little bit better. And it
hmm,
feels like OpenAI is in a weird spot because they have the first like they've got the advantage as being there first, but it's eroding faster than we
yeah,
generally see in this kind of cycle. So I think a lot of people pick the winner and assume like, oh yeah, we're good. We got our
yeah,
winner. So you've got people like let's just throw out a name. Perhaps Microsoft is adding like Hugging Face models to its
yeah,
AI studio. They've got an agreement to add OpenAI models, I think, to their Databricks hosted service, but just that for now. But also, sorry, not OpenAI, Anthropic, to just the
right.
Databricks services for now, because previously it was basically OpenAI only, and then some of
Hmm.
the Meta stuff in there as well. So we're at a point now where it's no longer just Meta for the offline stuff and OpenAI for the online stuff. We've got OpenAI on offline, and Meta's
Hmm.
trying to talk about hosting things in other services that they
Right.
can get paid for. I think Maverick was the goal. We'll see what happens there.
Hmm.
But this anyway, I guess what I'm saying is that it's no longer build versus buy, host don't
Right.
host. It feels like
Right.
it's getting a lot muckier, and I like it. I'm here for this. When we
Yeah.
have a market that's like has competition,
Yep.
generally the people building on these will profit. So we could
Yeah.
actually have choice, which is good. The bad news is that now I have to understand that this orchestration maybe is my keyword for the week.
Yeah.
It's like I don't understand light LLM. How do I know when this task should go to
Yeah.
like a big model or not? Like you're supposed to be the smart one. Can I put another model in front of
Yeah.
this to figure it out? Like it's
Yeah.
difficult
And
to write. That expert
I,
system is actually fairly complicated.
right. And I've heard of a tool called, I think, Llama Swap or LM Swap
Oh,
as a
okay.
tool for like a front end, kind of like a proxy. I haven't really looked at it. I don't know if it actually works with Ollama or if it's just Llama CPP. There was some drama about Llama CPP as well, but I'll talk about
What
that.
happened?
Well,
Of
some
all the chats I
comments.
had with somebody over my vacation, one of them was somebody who had forked Llama CPP, and they're like,
Oh,
"Why would
I
I
didn't
ever
see
use
that one.
anything else?
Yeah,
Why would I use anything else?" And I guess a
yeah,
bunch of people have forked it for their own internal
yeah.
tooling. And it's like, I mean, listen,
Sure, sure.
if you want to maintain a fork, maintain a fork. I've been
Yeah,
there before, but yeah, up to
yeah.
you. What was the drama? You don't need to name names or anything, but what happened?
I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Next topic. So the
Um,
only other thing that came out, I think, while I was away, so we talked about the open source stuff. We talked about
yep.
GPT-5. There was some drama, I think, around Grok's AI image creator being uncensored yet again for paid
Oh,
users.
okay. I was thinking about another Grok
Oh shit! Like, did
drama.
we not have this discussion before about like the legal implications of like just generating stuff? And then, of course, what we expected to happen happened, and like
Hmm.
same celebrity as
Yeah,
before, as far as I can
yeah,
tell on the video side
yep,
instead of the picture side. But it's like
yep,
I don't know how many times we need to learn the same lesson, but
yeah.
this one
And then
definitely.
the newer drama is that they're suing Apple because Apple's deal with OpenAI means that Grok can never be number one in the app Store because Apple is working with OpenAI, so therefore they have preferential treatment.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Is
I
the App
saw that
Store
this
that big
morning.
of a marketplace? Oh, man, that's amazing.
If you're an Apple device, yeah, I think.
The other thing I've
But
heard,
I don't
and
know
this is
if
maybe
people like pay attention to what's number one. I mean, I haven't looked at
right
that
App Store
site as
rankings.
the reason why I want. I mean, that's
Yeah,
like the last place I'm going to look for which
right.
apps. If I have I need to solve a problem or I need an app to do something, I'm never going to look at the App Store because it's useless.
Right. Yeah, it's
I'm going to look on websites and YouTube and look for a review that kind of speaks to
I
me.
yeah, I feel like useless
Yeah,
is the right word here. Apple would say it's opinionated and that they
yeah,
bubble the stuff up to the top that they want, but that's absolutely not true. Like
yeah.
you look
No,
at the top 20 and it's just an
yeah,
absolute mess. The other is I don't think people trust app stores, and this could be like
yeah,
Microsoft and Google's fault, but those two app stores
hmm,
are terrible,
yeah,
let alone the iOS app store. Like I
yeah.
guess I don't know who's making decisions based on app store rankings at
Well,
this
I
juncture.
saw a review of the Zune, like it came out just in the last few days,
A
and
new
they actually
review of the
were
old Zune.
a new review of the old Zune, and so they actually had a Zune original generation Zune that
Right.
somebody had donated to them to use for this review. Of course, it left out because because the Zune stuff, cloud stuff, isn't online anymore. They
Right.
don't have access to the number one feature of Zune, which was that software. Um, and I mean, at the time, I mean that was what was so magical about Zune was this cloud stuff. And when you compared it to iTunes or Apple Music, whatever it was. I mean, iTunes still has never caught up to what Zune had 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and
I'm not sure I can
20,
agree
20
on
years
like
ago.
the UI, but yeah, maybe the cloud service was good because
The
I
cloud service
actually did
was,
use
yeah,
Zune.
yeah, because I mean that was at the time I learned about so much new music that I never would have found out about
Right.
because of the Zune app. And Spotify tries to do that, and
It's awful.
other
It's
tools
getting
try
worse
to
and worse.
do it, and it doesn't. It only shows me what it thinks I want to see, rather than here's something you've never heard of.
there's no way that Spotify doesn't have paid placement
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. Some of the songs that come into my
Yeah.
recommended list, like they feel like plants. It's
Yeah.
obviously bad. It's got
Yeah.
nothing to do with the music I like. The lyrics are terrible. The music's terrible. I haven't
Yep.
come across any AI slop yet in Spotify that also exists. There's no
Mm-hmm.
verification. I miss Pandora, I guess, and maybe
Mm.
Zune used like there was the All Music API and the Pandora API back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you had for
Right.
recommendation
Right.
services. All Music did a really good job of being able to show you artists and
Mm-hmm.
bandmates that were related to each other, had different scenes, and that was
Mm-hmm.
really cool. Because if you
Right.
had a drummer that you'd liked, you could go across
Right.
genres with that style of
Right.
drumming in All Music.
Right.
The cool thing about Pandora would be like, yeah, the staccato drumming, but there are other drummers
Right.
like that. Let's find another one for you. And the combination of
Right.
the two actually was quite good. It was a
Yeah.
good organic music discovery platform. It would show it was popular, et cetera, et cetera. But the combination between that and I think it was Scrabble. Do you remember Scrabbling back in the day?
Mm. Yeah.
Scrabble was like a iScrobbler, I think was the first one that
Right.
came out. But you would quote unquote scrabble, as in just
Right.
post what you listen to on a feed, and that feed could be used for your recommendations, which was
Right.
phenomenal. So those three things felt like they were the gold standard.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened between then and now, but like
Right.
whatever this is awful. I,
Yeah.
I'm I've considered canceling Spotify so many times in the last year because it just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't provide any value over Apple Music, and it
Right.
keeps trying to get me to watch or listen to Joe Rogan podcast. And I've
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
got a complaint on their forum about it that I think is
Mm-hmm.
one of the most popular posts on their forum. It's just like, and I consistently get like the feedback, people commenting on it. It's
Yeah.
just like, please don't recommend things that are like,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say opinionated, but like
Yeah.
opinions that are toxic. Let's just
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
let's just not promote toxic behavior,
Yeah.
please, on your platform. Like I don't need this at
Right.
all. And I get it. Some people agree with Rogan.
Sure.
I've
Sure.
certainly listened to it before. I think my issue is the guests actually, but like
Yeah.
I don't need that on my feed. I
Yeah.
also don't need like just terrible mainstream music or like.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm Canadian and I love French music, but I don't need half my recommendations to be in French either. Like I know you don't get that in
Yep.
the States. Maybe do you get Spanish
Yep.
recommendations? Because like half the albums it recommends as new music are English, the other half are
Right.
French, which
Hmm.
which is
I do
great.
not.
Maybe there's a law
I
in
mean,
Canada
maybe
we have to do this.
if I still lived in Miami, where I grew up, maybe I would see more of that.
Cubano, yeah,
Yeah.
some Cubano music, yeah.
My daughter has really gotten into one song by a Miami singer, Pitbull, and so I keep hearing. So
Did you
that is
just
being
really
played
say a
on
Miami singer
my.
Pitbull?
Yeah.
Is
Well,
Pitbull a singer?
what's he count as? I don't
I
like
don't
it.
know. Whatever that is, it doesn't
Christina
sound like singing.
Aguilera is on it as well, and it's kind of
Fair enough.
like I don't know where it came from. It might have been in a Disney movie. I don't know if it. But
I thought you were gonna
yeah.
say Flow Rider or something.
Oh yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, but I did learn about a new singer that I'd never heard about. I mentioned this to you a few weeks ago.
All right.
But a guy named Jimmy Gnecco or Gnecco.
Right?
Had you ever heard of that?
No,
Him?
not at all. This is
So
your. You went to a cool party, I think, is what
I
happened.
went to a cool party. Yeah, I mean my
How does
neighbor,
this happen?
it was his birthday, and for his birthday he got some live music, and it's this guy named Jimmy Gnecco, and he's in a band called Hours and Humanity, I think is the other one, which opened for Depeche Mode. Sure,
Mhm.
Depeche Mode is not where they used to be, but they're still a pretty major
Still,
act.
yeah.
And so he opened for them last year, or I think last year or a year before. But then, between songs, he was talking about, here's this song that I wrote for Johnny Cash, and here's the song that I did with what was it, Chris Cornell from Soundgarden that we did together on the Spider-Man soundtrack. I was like, Jesus,
Wow.
these are
Yeah, that's really
like,
cool.
and so that was pretty amazing. And that was, I mean, this island. I mean, you get a lot of that kind of thing. And it was this private concert in this guy's backyard for 30 of his friends. And it was, I have no idea how much that would cost. I don't know how much that kind of thing
I-
would go
if you
for it.
have to
But
ask, right? If you're not
yeah,
used to hiring
yeah,
performers.
exactly.
Now
Um,
listen, I got a recommendation this week that does have really good music.
okay.
I'm not sure that's the selling point, but if you like chip tunes, I think this might be up your alley. So
Hmm.
what I'm about to recommend is something that looks like it would have been released on the Nintendo Famicom, or what we would call here the Entertainment System, the NES, but
Hmm.
it looks like something from the early '80s. It's called Loop Hero. It's about
Hmm.
5 years old, if I'm right. I looked around. It came out on computer before anywhere else. The reason it came to my on my radar, funnily enough, is it got added to the iOS App Store maybe a year ago, something like that. So you can play it on iOS devices, which is great. I'm not sure about Mac, but sometimes you can add them in because you can
Sure.
game on Mac as well. It is how do I say this? It's a Ludum Dare experiment turned into a full game. So I'm going to do a quick aside here, and we're going to explain what Ludum Dare is. Ludum Dare is essentially a hackathon for video games. So imagine you've
Hmm.
got a weekend to come up with a new game or a new game idea or a new game mechanic, and you just make something interesting. I hadn't, in fact, heard of these developers before because they made a game called Will It Shoot, which is basically just a way that you can pick up items and try to figure out like can this be gun or not. You
Right.
remember back when you were a kid, you pick up a stick and pretend it's a gun,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So my brother had showed me this and some other Ludum Dare things that were pretty cool. And it turns out what they did was come up with some of those ideas and sort of shove them all together. So
Hmm.
imagine a tower defense game where you're not in control of the towers, but you're actually in
Hmm.
control of the wave that's going through on
Right.
that little loop, and that you're stuck in a time continuum on that loop. But you
Hmm.
get to build around in Sim City style all the things around you that will determine whether or not the loop is difficult or not. So
Hmm.
you can place the enemies and decide. That being said, the trade-off, because this game's all about trade-offs, is if you add many enemies, you'll die, you won't gain anything
Hmm.
new. When you come back, you won't be any stronger. If you add fewer
Right.
enemies, it will take longer to level up. You'll gain more experience. And there's a nice
Right.
trade-off there between everything in the game, and it's kind of interesting.
Hmm.
You can pick different paths. We would call it like a rogue light these days, and maybe
Hmm.
like boiled down gameplay is where we're at. But the graphic style is definitely NES. If you like that type of chiptune music, it's
Yeah.
quite good. It is that the developers are Russian, if that matters to you. Speaking of the FUD, but
Yep.
the game's quite good. I think I picked it up for $3
Wow.
on Steam. So I've been playing. Sorry, not on Steam, on Switch. So I've been playing on Switch
When
too.
I
It's
saw
just
the
been trying to.
screenshot,
Yes,
I thought it was Dig Dug.
it has the tile set has a similar palette to some
Yeah.
old games
Yeah.
like Dig Dug for sure. Like EVGA palette. Do you
Yeah.
remember those colors? You had like
Yeah.
256 colors, and that's all you got. Yeah, it's definitely got a reduced palette for sure.
Hmm. It's
But
pretty
anyway,
cool.
Loop Hero, pretty addictive. I played it all the way, like on the flight to the Maritimes for my vacation, which is
Hmm.
where I was, folks. Sorry for the
Hmm.
absence. And then all the way back from vacation as well. I played it. It was phenomenal.
The Maritimes is PEI, Prince Edward Island, or is that
The
where's?
Maritimes are four provinces, so it's Newfoundland and Labrador, which is one province. Nova
Okay.
Scotia, which is another, PEI, which is the smallest province in Canada, as well as New Brunswick, which is
Is a
where I'm at.
province on its own?
It is, in fact, and all of
Oh.
these are just a little bit north of Maine. So it kind of a little bit of that Maine accent until you get to
Hmm.
Newfoundland, and in which case it's really strange. But yes, definitely, it's
All
like
I
an
know
expanded
about
Maine.
Prince Edward Island, I've relearned in the last few weeks of watching Anne with an E,
Ah, there you go.
with my 6-year-old daughter and my mother and my wife. We've been watching it every Friday, 2 episodes, and
That's cool.
we just finished maybe 2 weeks ago that series, and actually we tried to find another series that's like similar idea, but
Right.
also like very family friendly, and so we just started last week started watching the original Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, right on. I was gonna say
And so we're going
Rhodavamine,
through
but
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
That
yeah.
sounds.
So I mean,
Yeah,
that's I think she'll be
it's
10 years
similar
old
era.
by the time we finish,
Yeah, that sounds about
because it's
right.
like
There's a lot of
nine
material.
seasons of 30 episodes per season or so, 25 episodes. So
Right.
we're set for a long, long time.
That is fantastic. I
So
did
yeah.
visit the original home of Lucy Montgomery,
Oh,
Lucy Maud
okay.
Montgomery, the author,
Uh-huh.
as well as the quote unquote Anne house, which
Uh-huh.
so her birthplace as well as where some of the books were written, and then some of the past that she talks about in the
Mm-hmm.
book. I will say I found the birthplace, which is way less busy, much more
Mm-hmm.
interesting as a
Oh,
result.
okay.
The house for Anne has like a whole bunch of buildings around it now, and you have
Yeah.
to like pay to get in to see the house.
Yeah.
But it used to be you could just walk around and whatever.
Yeah.
And I get why it's a tourist attraction.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that go there, but it was way less busy at the other place. The light
Mm.
was fantastic. I took a photo
Mm.
of a bouquet of
Yeah.
flowers there that I really liked.
Yeah.
But the island is, we went there on like August long weekend in Canada at least, which is like
Right.
a very busy long weekend,
Yeah.
and the island was just bopping. There's people
Wow.
everywhere. Hotels were extremely expensive. We made a reservation and got a confirmation, two confirmations for the reservation from Booking.com. The hotel did not reserve our room.
Oh no.
We didn't have a hotel room, so we had to find one last minute, which is pretty stressful.
Oh
But yes,
God.
we got in. Yeah, I was just
Wow.
looking at a ticket earlier about dead letter queues, and was thinking through
Yeah.
like why one needs a dead letter queue and what
Right.
they do, and this
Right.
is a perfect example for that.
Yeah. Wow. Had you ever read? Thinking of Anne, had you ever read the books?
No, I watched this series on TV. There was a
Okay.
CBC, which is like your PBS
Yeah.
series that I really liked.
So the first book is actually kind of terribly written. It's so hard to read. It is just it's kind of painful reading through it. But we
Okay,
read the first like because I'm reading the stories at night as
is
you
it
know as
stilted like elevated prose because she was very
very elevated. Yeah,
yeah,
she writes the way Anne speaks,
right,
and it's like it's so annoying. But then for some reason, Stella wanted to skip ahead to after Anne and Gilbert are married, and so it's like book 6. So we've just finished book 6, and the stories in there are so amazing,
right.
and they're so
Because she
well
dumbed it
written.
down a
So
bit, right? Because her audience is way younger than she expected,
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she got a whole lot better towards the end, and I think
Well, one might
we're
actually
starting
say
at 7 or
worse,
8.
but
Huh?
more palatable,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, yeah,
more. Yeah, it might have been really great at the time, but it's so much nicer now, and the stories are amazing.
right. It's like
Um,
reading biblical stories, and it's very difficult
yeah,
to read just because, does anyone talk like this?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now,
Um,
listen. Before the show, you were talking about spending money, as Matt
yes,
likes to do. Matt, did you
yes,
spend any money that we should know about,
I
or
did,
are
I
you outing
did.
yourself here?
So
You're not going to get in trouble with a spouse or anything like that?
no, no, these were
Okay.
cooperative spends.
Oh, family
So
purchase.
the first one I mentioned we went kayaking a few times,
Right.
and we do a weekly social paddle with Bainbridge Island Parks and Rec, and
Nice.
usually, it's usually about 10 people that go, and they've got 15, 20 kayaks that you can choose from and pick a kayak and you go for that for the day, or it's usually about 3 hours in the evening,
Okay.
and different places all around Bainbridge Island. But it's always a struggle to find because I'm 6'4". It's a struggle
Right.
to find something where I usually have to take the foot pegs out and then my feet are slammed against the bulkhead
Sandwich. Yeah.
so it's really really tight, very uncomfortable. And so we bought a kayak for at least one for me, and my wife's probably going to get another one um, soon.
Did
And
you
but
go inflatable?
and we've used it twice, and it is
Mhm.
such a completely different experience. It is so much more comfortable, so much more controllable. It's amazing. So it's an Eddie Line Sitka XT, which is it's a big boat. But it's wonderful. A little stressful putting it on the car and driving with it, but I'm getting better at that. So that
Got
was
you answered my
big
question. So
purchase.
it's not inflatable, right? It's
No,
a
no, no.
fiberglass. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. With two maiden compartments if you want to put camping gear in it, and
Oh,
a
is it a
second.
two-seater or one-seater?
It's a one-seater, but two kind of compartments for camping gear and that kind of thing, as well
Front
as
and back.
another little thing for like your phone and that kind of stuff.
Fantastic.
Um, so that was super exciting. Mango orange is the color. It's pretty cool.
Safety orange.
Yep. Yeah. It's exactly.
It's not a
So
bad
that
idea
was
because water is generally
yeah,
blue, according to the
yeah,
Gen AI, and
yeah.
maybe the boats will see you and not run you over.
And I learned it when we went on Sunday. We did a Strokes American Canoe Association's Strokes Level 3 course, and took that for getting better at how to avoid flipping and if you
Right.
do have to flip, we've done a safety course
Yeah.
before where
Do you know
if you
the
do flip,
technique? I've done it like twice in my
how do
life.
you? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you do flip, how do you get back in?
Right.
So we've done a lot of those types of things, and it it's a great thing to do. But yeah, so it's just so nice. So that was one thing that was the cheaper purchase.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Kayaks aren't cheap. Okay.
yeah, that was three grand, I think.
Sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah, and then the other one is something we've been talking about. So the kayak we've been talking about getting for 4 years, and we finally did it. And we've kind of known the one we're going to get for 4 years. We just kept
Mhm.
delaying. We'll just rent from the city for another year. No big deal. But the other thing, so Stella, our daughter, is in this music class,
Right.
and the music class starts when they're 5 years old, and the first it's just mostly like learning about rhythm and some singing and some different uh, um, like the do re mi kind of understanding notes and being able to know what just hearing a sound what key it's in, and so all that, so that's what the first year is. The second year is more keyboard, piano, and learning about that. And the third year is they start doing composition
Oh wow,
of new music. So
that's
so we
cool.
needed to get a keyboard. Now there's a lot of ways to go with getting a keyboard. I could spend $100 on a keyboard.
Yeah, just looking
I've
around.
got
I got one. I got $100 one right up here. How many
I've
keys
got
do you need?
a
21.
Novation SL
Right. Right. Like
62
an
whatever.
88 key.
I,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have one right here that's is no longer supported, but you can still plug in an iPad and get all the
Yeah.
sounds,
It's MIDI.
and it
Yeah.
works. So if we wanted to go the cheap route, we could. But I've also wanted to go back into playing a piano again, and so did
Right.
Tony. We both learned as
Oh.
kids.
Oh. Did you get a baby grand? Oh my god.
No, oh my God, no.
Okay. Phew.
Um,
Phew. Like a
so
stand
we
up?
were looking,
Because
but so
we
we've
talked about this on the show before.
mhm.
We have
So
it's come up.
we've we were considering a digital piano, like a
Right.
full piano, something that looks like a piano, but is completely digital. And
Right.
the real attraction to that is there's really one place for a piano to go in our house, and that's where the previous owners had put not their baby grand, their full grand, right there in
Holy.
that spot. So we
Can't be
know where
expensive.
it's supposed to go because they put it there, and they designed the house for it. But we're not getting a grant. And so we, so we're, but the downside to that is that wall on the other side of the wall is Stella's bedroom, and so that means if she goes to sleep, we can't
No
play.
play. Yeah.
And so the digital piano was really nice because, well, she's sleeping, great, put the headphones on, and
Right.
we're good to go. And so we were looking that I had asked a number of people, well, we're thinking of getting a digital piano. What do you think? So, and they all went to the same exact one, the Yamaha CLP 835, I think it
It,
was.
it's hard not to
One,
recommend it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like one below the bottom, but it's good and it's great for
Wait.
everything.
Keys. Yep.
Um, and gradually over like YouTube reviews and me going to one store in Detroit when I was there a few weeks ago to hear them, we kind of moved more towards the upper end of that range, the
No
CLP
way.
885.
Oh, okay.
And so that was what, and I kept saying, Tony, okay, here's what I think we should get. I really want you to come into the store to hear it and feel it before we buy something because they'll take a return, but they don't want to. And
It's
so
also a pain because they're larger. Yeah.
they're large things. It requires is yeah. And she kept delaying it, but finally we went in, and she was able to we're not good players because it's been 30 years since our last lessons, but or last time we touched anything. But we were able to, just feel it and feel what it feels like to slam on some keys. And it was interesting that while the digital piano on its own, I mean, if you put them side by side with a acoustic piano, you'll hear a difference. But if you're separate from them for like a week, it'll be hard to know that a digital piano is a digital piano versus an acoustic. General, I mean, at a high level, especially if you put on those headphones, and then it's incredible. And so the 885 is really nice because it's got a lot of speakers and they're pointing in different directions, and so it produces this amazing sound. And the whole reason I was going that route is because of the headphones. That thing. Of course, the piano salesperson, being a good salesperson, said, "Well, if that's the one thing that you're concerned with, here's this other thing that you could do instead." And so we saw. And we ended up, and then there was a used version of that at that store as well. And so we picked up the used one. And so it's a regular acoustic piano, a standard Yamaha U1 piano.
Okay.
But if one of the pedals, you push down and slide to the right, and it brings the hammers that hit the strings, pulls them away a little bit, so that when you press the key, it doesn't actually go all the way. Oh. And then there are optical sensors somewhere inside there that see how hard are you hitting, all the velocity and
it's like an optical keyboard switch. Yeah.
And creates a digital sound. But there's no speakers in it. It's a transducer that attached to the soundboard on the back of a piano. And so the soundboard that's creating a lot of the sound in a regular piano is creating the sound in this digital piano as well. So it's an acoustic piano that you can turn into a digital piano as well. Huh. So it's pretty cool. Technology apparently this technology, I mean, they've been selling this piano, or roughly this piano, this idea, acoustic with this digital switch, for 40, 50 years, and they're still going.
I've never heard of this. I shop for pianos.
I had never heard.
I'm in the minority who has shop for pianos. I've never heard of this. That's amazing.
And then you can. I mean, when you switch to digital, you could also set it so that it doesn't play on that back panel at all, and it plays just on headphones. And when Tony played that, it's like it's not so much the sound, just the vibrations, all over you. That's what sounds so different. It feels different. And so we got one.
Very cool.
So it's a U1. It's one model, the previous generation. So U1 TA2. So trans something. Trans audio. I don't know.
That's fantastic.
So there are definitely haters of the technology because they think, well, any technology, it's going to be outdated at some point. This is already a 7-year-old piano that we bought. But it's still very good. Definitely some people think, you should not do the electronic stuff. It just lowers the value over time, but it seems, and then, even if I think the thing we were afraid of is if we're going to buy a piano, I always want to make sure that I don't want to buy the same thing twice, unless it's a massive upgrade. So I know that if we buy a new piano, like in 5 years, all of us decide we like this piano thing, then we can go for I don't know, whether it's a baby grand or something more substantial in 5 years, and it's 100% trade-in value for that.
So all right. Okay. Let us know which iPad app you use to get you back on the piano. All ears. Don't use the App Store.
Yeah.
There are a lot of tutors out there to put the iPad where the sheet music goes. Yeah.
Well, so I've owned Fourscore for a long time for
Okay,
sheet music reading.
great.
I think I bought it when it was a whole lot cheaper than it is now. Um, I don't know why I have it because I don't play, but for some reason I have it.
Maybe you're sorting the App
Um,
Store by most expensive because it's not cheap.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I do play with a lot of like music and sound apps like Audulus. I love that, and all these other
I like the
tools.
Korg ones. They recently added a
Yeah,
sale. Yeah,
yeah. But just up the street here, um, go up to the end of the street, which is like 10 houses up. There's this a place called Island Music Guild, and they have studios with piano, regular
nice,
pianos in there, and they have teachers, and so we're both going to do lessons.
fantastic.
And my daughter's doing lessons. There, I mean, that's where her school thing is, her classes that she's going to take, that she is taking. It's all up there. So, yeah, we're super excited about this. We get
So,
it
so I have
in
a
2
cover to
weeks.
pitch to you. This could be better, but what is
Mhm.
stuck in my brain is I think it's Steve Winwood's "Take It Easy." Do you know the song? Take it
Yeah,
easy. Yeah. I'm trying to rope in MCP into this song, and I've come up with some lyrics. So if you, like, you don't need, I'll do the singing, but if you can do the piano playing, we could easily create an MCP song.
that sounds good. All right, I'll
The
work on
song
it,
is entirely about how, yep, yep.
I'll
In
be
tune to
able to do that in, I calculate, like 3 months.
perfect. That's MCPs will be completely irrelevant. Perfect.
That's right. That's right.
Uh
Hey,
okay.
we're
I
over
think we've
time.
exhausted our topics. We've gone over time. We've had some
Yeah.
comments. Thank you very much for those in the chat.
Yeah.
You've got some people with crowns and badges and stuff. So I think we're popping off today. Fantastic.
Yeah. Awesome.
I
Shall
think
we
we
end it?
can. I think we're good to end it. Should we find the end stream button? Thank you very
Mm,
much, folks.
bye.
We had 20 of you here. It was amazing.
No, I think I saw it was like 16, 17 at one point.
Yeah, it hit 20. Yeah, 18,
Yeah.
19,
Oh,
20
okay.
for sure.
20. You saw 20.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll
I
go with
did.
that.
It could be fake, but I saw it.
Alrighty. Finish.
All right.